Want to make a very cheap seed starting mix easily at home? How to properly sterilize it? What happens if we don't sterilize the seed starter medium? What should be the important qualities of a perfect seed starting mix which will guarantee you almost 100% germination rate? All these things will be covered in today's episode. I will show how to make easily a perfect homemade sterile seed starting mix, and that's also very cheap and can save you from wasting lots of your money for buying a commercial expensive seed starter medium. I will also be sharing some tips related to gardening and alternatives throughout the episode. Please watch the entire episode without skipping it. So let's begin. Welcome back to my channel, Grow and More. In today's episode, we'll be looking at all the things you need to know about making the best seed starting mix for your garden. Commercial seed starter mix can be expensive to buy, so it's better to come up with your own recipe for homemade seed starting medium. But a few things to remember while making your own recipe. These are your seed starting medium should be porous, lightweight and fluffy, so that it is easier for the seeds to germinate and also good for the development of your young seedlings root. It should be well draining, but at the same time it should hold sufficient moisture. It should not contain too much fertilizer or nutrients in it, as the seeds don't really require nutrition from outside to germinate. They have all the energy stored in them to be germinated. Seed starting mix must be sterilized, especially when you use garden soil or some poor quality compost. The idea behind sterilizing potting medium is to kill off the soil pathogens, weed seeds and other unwanted organisms, basically eliminating any sources of infection so that a young seedling is free to emerge in a very safe environment. And along with all these qualities, your seed starter mix should have one most important quality, which is it should be very easy and cheap to make it at home. So let's start with how to make perfect starting medium, and so we'll learn all these things in this do-it-yourself project. Let's look at all the ingredients you will need to make your homemade seed starting mix. Ideally, your seed starter medium should be little different than your regular potting mix. Mainly two differences. It should contain very less or zero nutrition in compared to the usual potting medium, and also it should retain more water which seeds need to be germinated compared to the regular potting mix, which should be well draining. This thing can be controlled by using proper amount of perlite and vermiculite. Perlite is for making the medium well draining, and vermiculite is to keep it moist by absorbing more water. I have already covered a video regarding the perlite and vermiculite. You can check that by clicking the I button above after watching this video. I prefer to use both perlite and vermiculite in an equal ratio for my seed starter mix because I tend to leave the young seedlings a little longer in this medium, and later when they grow about 5 to 6 inch in size depending on the variety we are growing, I transplant them in a regular potting mix. And for the same reason, I also add some amount of compost in the seed starting medium so that it can support proper nutrition to the seedlings for a longer period of time. So the first ingredient is coco peat or coconut coir. You can buy a brick of this which will be much cheaper, and you can then add water to it to break it down. It can increase up to 5 to 6 times in its volume after absorbing the water. I have also made a video regarding this. You can check that out from the I button. Alternatively, you can use peat moss, but it's slightly acidic with a pH of 3 to 4.5. So if you use peat moss, you need to mix other things to raise its pH and to make it more neutral around 6.5 to 7. That's why I prefer to use coco peat. We'll be taking 5 parts of coco peat here. Next ingredients I take here is vermicompost 1 part. Alternatively, you can use leaf compost or even use your homemade compost made from food scraps or food waste. Try to avoid using cow dung compost as it might invite fungus and other harmful pathogens in your potting medium if it is not properly decomposed. Remember that this compost is also optional. Why I add this? As I told you earlier, that I tend to leave the young seedlings a little longer in this seed starting medium. So that's why I add this compost to give a proper nutrition to these young seedlings. Next, I will use 1 part of vermiculite and 1 part of perlite so that the seed starting medium can retain proper moisture as well as making it well draining. If you don't have these 2 ingredients, you can alternatively use fine sands or construction sands like this. You might need to strain out larger pebbles or stones from it. Add 1 part of fine sands instead of 1 part each of vermiculite and perlite. And as these sands can retain adequate water as well as they are well draining, you can get almost similar result when using these fine sands. The only downside is that it will make your potting mix to a little heavier side in weight. So again, what I am using here, 5 parts of coco peat, 1 part of vermicompost, 1 part of vermiculite and 1 part of perlite. Total 8 parts. Okay, let me tell you quickly what I mean when I say part. It is a generic quantity of measurement. It could be anything, a 3-inch pot, a 6-inch or any type of container or even a very large bucket. Anything is available to you. The only thing is that you need to measure all the quantities using the same size container or pot. Then take a large bucket depending on how much potting mix you want to make and add all these ingredients one by one. You might find chunks in your compost. You can break those down by your hands. I use a strainer. These large particles or large chunks are not good for seed germinations and also for the development of young roots. Mix them thoroughly. Now coming to the important thing, how to properly sterilize it. I have already mentioned the reason behind sterilizing your medium. Basically, your seedlings need an infection-free or a fungus-free environment to grow up. Some people use microwave by heating the medium up to certain temperature, or some people even use hot composting. You can just Google that word. You can alternatively add very hot or boiling water to it. But all these procedures involve risk to you and also to the helpful microbes in your potting mix of soil. So the method I prefer is to add hydrogen peroxide or H2O2 in my seed starter mix or any potting medium. It is easily available at medicine shop. It could be 3% or 6% in concentration. Here I am using a 6% H2O2. I add about 20 ml of that H2O2 to 200 ml of normal tap water. Mix them well by shaking it and pour the entire thing in the medium. It will kill all the unwanted pathogens inside your potting mix. At the same time, it doesn't hurt much to the useful ones. There are other benefits of using H2O2 for your plants. I will make a separate video covering all those points. Then you should leave the seed starting medium for 1 day in a direct sunlight to get even better result. After that, your sterile seed starter medium is ready to use, and I guarantee you that if you follow all these things, you can get a perfect medium not only for seed germination but also for your seedlings up to a longer period of time. If you find the video useful, please like, comment and share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time in a brand new episode at Grow and More.